Hey, this is John Morgan, and I wanted to bring everyone up to date on exactly where we are on our lawsuit against the state of Florida, and then to give you some of my thoughts after being in the trenches here for the last 4 years. We have filed the lawsuit to allow smoke with medical marijuana. We believe that our argument is the right argument, and there are many reasons why. 71% of Floridians approve this. It's record numbers. Somehow the Florida legislature always thinks they know more than we do. They think they know more than what their doctors do. When they banned smoke, they did a terrible thing to people who really need smoke. You see, when someone goes to the hospital, the last thing that happens with anesthesia is the mask is put on over your face. Why? That is the most direct way to get relief, to get action. There's a reason people don't take sleeping pills or pills to put you to sleep before surgery, because it works best. For many people, smoke is the most immediate relief to pain, suffering, nausea, spasms. The legislature decided to say, no, we're going to ban smoking. And the reason they did, this little state representative named Ray Rodriguez, he said what was really happening here was that this was a backdoor, these are his words, a backdoor route to recreational marijuana. Well, now that'll just show you what little he knows. Because the truth of the matter is, today, the preferred way that most people use marijuana recreationally is through vaping. But because he thought that would penalize people, and because he doesn't have a clue as to what is going on in the medical marijuana world or the marijuana world, they put this ban in. So where we go from here, it goes to the court. It's been assigned a judge in Tallahassee, and we will now let the courts do what they do best, is interpret the law. I wanted to tell you a few more things of what I think is going to be the upshot of this. You see, when you take the will of the people and just discard it, the people rise up. What my prediction is that these actions by Ray Rodriguez and the Florida legislature is going to cause the people of Florida and the new marijuana industry to perhaps come in and have a second amendment to legalize the recreational use of marijuana. These legislators who really don't know what it's like to be an entrepreneur, don't know what it's like to make a payroll, they think that they know best. But what they usually do is they stir the fire up. So I believe here's the day that we're in. Look, the war on drugs has failed miserably. It goes back to the 1960s. What we now know now is that the real war on drugs needs to be fought against the manufacturers of opioids. This summer I spent a lot of time here in New Hampshire, and I drive all over this state and all over New England, and I want to tell you, the opioid epidemic is incredible. You walk down streets, you drive down streets, and you just point the people out. Young people walking on canes, destroyed. People who you think might be 70 are actually 30. In America and New Zealand, these are the only two countries in the whole world where we allow the advertisement of drugs. Only New Zealand and the United States of America. What's happening to America right now is we become an opioid nation. Children as young as 13 are prescribed OxyContin and hydrocodone and drugs that hook you and destroy you. Opioids and drug use is the leading cause of all deaths 50 and under in America. Here's what has to happen. First of all, we need to stop fighting this marijuana fight. It's been a losing battle. It's been a false battle from the beginning. The truth is, after being in the trenches all these years now, I know this. The recreational use of marijuana should be allowed. We need to get it totally off the table so we can focus on the real war on drugs, which is opioid use, legal opioid use. You hear Congress talking about $45 billion to fight opioid abuse. We build prisons, for-profit prisons, to lock people away. Look, drug addiction is not a crime. It's like saying tobacco addiction is a crime. For those of you who've never been addicted, you don't understand. I have a brother who smokes cigarettes. I asked him the other day, I said, Mike, if the pack cost $100 a pack, would you still buy it? He goes, yes, I would. That's how powerful it is. We in this country are a country that prescribe for ourselves. When our children are little, we start giving them Adderall by the time they get to college, or Ritalin when they're in kindergarten, and Adderall by the time they're in college. When you watch the weekly news, 7 of the 8 largest advertisers are drug manufacturers. We are killing ourselves with prescription drugs. The fight needs to focus on these industries that make these drugs that are engaged in premeditated murder. And I'm not saying that the wrong way. Premeditated murder. Fentanyl is 10 times more powerful than heroin. And our children are receiving these drugs after an orthopedic injury, after a car accident, after a sporting accident. This fight, this war on drugs, has been a losing drug proposition, a losing fight proposition from day one. What we need to do in America, in Florida, is focus on the real fight. Locking people up for being drug addicts is not the solution. And giving profit to for-profit prisons is not the solution. Through back channels, I have been urging President Trump to take marijuana from a Schedule I rated drug to a Schedule II. If we do that, we may find the miracles of marijuana that have been found in Israel for years and years and years. I'm not an advisor to President Trump, far from it. But if I was his advisor, I would tell him the thing that he could do to make him more popular than he's ever been would be to take this Schedule I, drop it down, so we can start using the real benefits of marijuana, which I think far outweigh anything. It is a natural plant put into nature by God for us. And until we're honest with ourselves, we're going to watch a generation get hooked, get killed, and families get destroyed. I urge the President of the United States to seriously think about doing something very bold and would be very popular in America. Make marijuana a Schedule II drug so we can study it in our universities. We can't now. We can't study it in laboratories. So my fight goes on. My opinion has changed from the beginning. Marijuana will be legalized in this country, whether it's 2 years from now or 4 years from now or 6 years from now. One snowflake can cause an avalanche. But I want you all to know that my fight in Florida continues in the courts, but my resolve and my attitudes have changed because I have met and seen real people, real families destroyed by opioids, and real people made better and healthier and happier with the use of medical marijuana. The war on drugs has failed. The war on drugs that we need to fight going forward is this opioid crisis where these pharmaceutical companies are making billions and billions and billions of dollars. So join me in this fight. Write the White House, write President Trump, write your legislators and tell them the time has come to fight the real war on drugs, and that's the war against opioids. Hope you have a great weekend.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I'd like to thank you for all your years of support through the years. As a result, this channel has grown and allowed me an equity partnership in carmarshal.com. Please take the time to check them out. They help you buy and sell your next car, even have a negotiating tool to save you from the hassle of haggling with multiple dealers. The link is in the description below. Please click and help support and give if you can too through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks again.